One of the effects that I found particularly interesting in terms of this research, these studies into cognitive linguistics, experiential psychology, I'm trying to really get inside of those ideas. What I found interesting is that it kind of feels a little bit like I'm living in the 17th century sometimes. The discipline of forcing oneself to surface metaphors that one would use to talk about abstractions, inevitably brings those metaphors into focus, and those metaphors are always very kind of nuts and bolts Newtonian metaphors. You're sort of forbidden, if you like, if you're being rigorous about this. At least this is how I'm doing it. I kind of forbid myself the possibility of thinking in terms of technologies, for example, or in terms of concepts which aren't embodiable, which aren't sort of Newtonian, I guess, or at least which don't follow the principles of some kind of naive physics. So the universe of experience that I'm trying to consciously operate within, which I assume is also the one that I'm non-consciously operating in cognitively, is one of, as I said many times, medium-sized objects moving at medium speed. It's a kind of universe of levers and cogs and wheels and billiard balls bouncing off one another. That kind of highly predictable, highly haptic, visualizable kind of reality. Not the reality that we know exists, which is non-visualizable and has to do with relativity or quantum effect or any of that kind of stuff, really. So where's this going? So what I'm finding is that by forcing myself to recognize the nuts and bolts, clunky, steam-powered nature of my own cognition, I'm finding that cognition making kind of shortcuts in its explanation. And the one that's most evident, the one I'm finding most evident, is I keep finding myself in these videos, for example, referring to religious concepts. I keep referring to God, for example, or spirituality, or enlightenment, which as an atheist is a little bit disconcerting, actually, but pleasurable at the same time. I'm enjoying the process. It's not a conversion experience. I don't find myself believing in these concepts any more than I ever have done. What I am finding is that I'm sort of forced into those ideas as a conclusion, as a necessity, because of the limitations, I guess, or because of the huge gaps that open up in the machinery of a limited kind of Newtonian sort of thoughts. All of the details that the universe really contains, and that I sort of know about, not well, but I sort of know of, at least if I don't know, to do with the complexity of the universe. All that is lost because I'm limited to what is essentially things that were known 400 years ago, and probably a long time before that, actually. Back in the days of Socrates and Plato, the pre-Socratics, Parmenides, Xenophanes. All that kind of stuff I find myself in that kind of cognitive space, really. And the effect, as I say, of that is that because all that detail is lost, all those details seem to sort of cohere in my mind as a set of intuitive, vague, intention-laden entities, really, or concepts, like spirituality, like enlightenment, and like God. So I think when I'm talking about God in these videos, or when I'm talking about spirituality, it's kind of a necessary side effect of the machinery of thought which I'm using to get to express ideas that it comes with the territory, I suppose, is what I'm saying. It's the necessary steam above the factory, or which we seem to intuit that powers the factory, or something like that. Fascinating process.